Yeah, the image is actually a little bit older. But I was thinking I might do a landscape stream. I have some Casein Paints. And I'm trying to figure out if I can position myself to be painting out the window. How's my sound, people? Sorry. Let me just grab this. So how is everyone today? Just lurking today. Cool. Landscape. Yeah, so I'm trying to position myself out. Position my camera and my stuff on my desk so that I can paint out my window, maybe? The snow is still thawing here in Texas. Took the day off. Do you have power again? Or are you still... Hi, Paolo. How are you? Okay. I think I'm going to... Hey, sorry. Never lost power. Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I know a lot of people were without. Put that there. And so I think my plan for today is I'm going to test out, I have some Casein paints I got. So I'm going to test these out and then I'm going to try to do a landscape stream using these. So, the story with these, I've tried Casein. So Casein paints, if you're not familiar with them, they're a casein, the binder in them is casein, which is a milk protein. So in watercolor, and gouache, the binder is a gum arabic. So it's a resin, and then you add water to water it down. The binder is casein. And then you add water to water it down, but it dries with a closed surface, so it doesn't, you can't lift it up easily, but it's a fairly fragile protein, so it's not going to dry as hard as, for example, acrylic, but it can be layered somewhat like acrylic. So it's used as an underpainting medium. It's sort of the precursor to acrylic. Before we developed acrylics, this was sort of, the alternative to oil paints. It behaves sort of like gouache, sort of like a acrylic gouache, except more natural. It's sort of like an oil paint except more matte, and sets a little bit quicker. It's sort of like, yeah. Some people will use it as an underpainting medium for acrylic or oil paint. If you watch James Gurney, he frequently paints with casein and gouache. I've tried it before. I really enjoy these paints, but I never bought them because I tend to work primarily with transparent paints. This year I'm not purchasing any new paints, so I treated myself over the holidays and I got, no, this is gouache. This is gouache. So I treated myself over the holidays and I got myself some casein. I wanted to support a local business, not just buy these things on Amazon, so I got these from a local store in Guelph, Ontario, Wyndham Art Supplies. Unfortunately, they were out of a lot of colors, so for example, you will see that I don't have any magenta, and my color selections are a little bit weird. I don't have a magenta, I don't have a purple. I have yellow ochre and Naples yellow, but no other yellows. How do you spell casein? I'm sure I understand that word. Well, you spelled it correctly. This, the white, yeah. So I've got a big tube of white. Anyway, so I haven't tested these at all. I mean, I've used paints like this before. I borrowed them from a friend, but I haven't tried these colors, so I'm going to first swatch them. So starting with a yellow. This is Naples yellow, this is quite a bright yellow. I was expecting it to be more muted. So this is, it's always nice to test things when you're trying out a new medium. So casein like the milk protein. Yes, absolutely. It is exactly the same milk protein. So you can make your own paint with casein that you get from like the health food store, and you can find instructions for mixing it with pigments. I could not be bothered to mix my own paint before use every time, so I bought it ready-made. So this can be applied sort of thick and even like this. It can be watered down like watercolor. So this Naples yellow, I was expecting it to be much more muted, because Naples yellow in I eat it too. I was wondering if it's the same substance. It's delicious. I'm pretty sure I'm allergic to it. Like, I like the paint, but I'm pretty sure that that's the protein in milk that I react to. So, a bit interesting. I'm also going to try mixing it with white. See if I can. Mix more white. And then if I mix more water into that, eat whey protein. Yeah, so I'm not sure whether it's the whey or casein. It's not lactose though. So I don't react well to something in milk, so I just don't use that much milk. But so if I take a yellow ochre then, I don't have any objection to it in paint. I kind of like it a little bit more for these. Oh, I'm really enjoying this. This is a really pretty yellow ochre. Really enjoying this. The warm cool of that paint is sensitive to the camera and the light. Maybe I'll just get you some brighter lights. Sorry, I didn't turn on the studio lights. Or just, let's get you these. And let's get the big bright overheads too. Is that better? I know it's not plant-based, but I sure have been tempted to get some of those Shiva paints. Well, I'm sorry if I'm causing an ethics issue for you. Not my intention. They are really neat. It is a very small amount of milk protein that you'd be using in every painting, I guess. But, you know. Yeah. Okay, so then if I take this orange here and I put it here. Sorry, I was cleaning up the rats. What did I miss? I am trying out the Richardson Casein Shiva paints. So these are like a precursor to acrylics, I guess. They're a matte water-based paint with a casein binder. So casein is a milk protein. And basically before acrylics came around, this was like what was used, where people would use acrylics because they dry relatively fast and with a close surface, so you can layer them more so than something like, for example, this cadmium is really pretty. You can layer them more so than something like than a gouache. But So they're pretty neat. So they kind of work like gouache. They work a lot like gouache. The only difference between this and gouache is that once this dries, like if you paint with gouache, once it dries and you add water back to the paper, it all comes back up. Whereas with this will just stay on the paper, and unless you really scrub at it, the layers underneath won't come back up. So for example, if you follow James Gurney, what James Gurney will frequently do is he'll do an underpainting with casein, and then he'll bring out gouache for the layers on top, so then he knows that the underpainting won't get picked up by the gouache. It dries matte? Yeah, very, very matte. It's very much like gouache. It can be mixed with gouache. It's also been used as an underpainting medium for things like it's been used as an underpainting medium for things like oil paint or acrylic. It's got a very unique scent to it, which I really quite enjoy. Some people think it stinks. Like a lemon yogurt almost. So I can water it down like gouache, or I can grab some of this white and use the white to those are some giant tubes. Well, the white is a giant tube. The others are 37 milliliters. So that's like a really large, that would be really large for a watercolor tube, but it would be pretty small for like an oil paint tube. Okay, next, let's try. So I don't usually use cadmiums much in watercolor, but I did get some cadmiums here. So this is different. I really like this cadmium orange. It's really pretty. Is this a slippery slope? Am I going to start using cadmiums in my watercolor painting too now? But look at how bright that is. Whew, so pretty. So if you just try to water it down, it just sort of gets a little streaky, but you can get a lighter color by mixing it with the white. That orange is really orangey, and I approve that oranginess. It is very orange. So these colors are definitely not what I would have chosen if I had the full range to choose from, but that's what the local store had in stock. So, you know, taking my own advice for once, and just working with what is available. So these are the colors I got. Were they expensive? I think I spent about $100. So that was, I got the underpainting set that came with 6 paints, and that one was like $50 something, and then I got a few more. Yeah, so they definitely do dry different with, they definitely do look different with white versus just diluted. I'm really enjoying this cadmium orange. This is like somewhat dangerous knowledge, I guess. I've never really reached for cadmiums in watercolor. It's what I had in terms of casein here, so got what was available. Does it feel? It's really it honestly it feels a lot like gouache from the tube. It's maybe got a little bit more body than gouache, but it feels a lot like gouache. I think that training myself to paint in an opaque way as well will help, you know, improve my sense of color and understanding of tone. That's my theory. So I kind of wanted to just try it out. Yep, let's try a little bit more of that brown in here. That's interesting. Wait. Is this something perhaps Neuron might still want to drink the paint water? Yes, so I will absolutely have to empty this paint water and wash it out real good before Neuron comes back in here. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I try to be pretty obsessive about not using toxic paints, is because Neuron will come in here and drink the water. So yeah, so I'll just need to wash that out. Yeah, I think there's just the one company that makes them. Like, you can make your own casein paint if you have pigments. Like, you can get the casein binder, and maybe that's a cheaper way. But then you'd have to find a way to package them in tubes or make them fresh every time you want to paint. Yeah, you can absolutely mix them. So I've got, I guess, 10 tubes probably. I'm just testing them out right now, but okay. So then I've got a Permasol Blue, whatever that is. PB15 and PW6. Okay. Yeah, they had a different set. Like, there's a different set. So there was a primary set of 6, which is what I probably would have gotten, is just get the primary set and then like 1 or 2 earth tones. But they didn't have the mixing or the primary set available. So I had to, so I bought the, what am I doing? So I bought the underpainting set, but the underpainting set didn't have any bright colors or white. So then I had to get some more paints. And they didn't have any magentas, any purples, any, they didn't have ultramarine blue. So basically there's no purple or magenta to be had in this set, because like this is the only red I have and this is the closest blue. So you can see that's not, not gonna mix any bright violets. No pink flowers with this. I could, however, use gouache over it, so that's still an option. But yeah, just this isn't gonna be something that I can paint pink flowers with. Yeah, so I've never really enjoyed acrylic for that reason. Somehow this stuff hasn't bothered me in quite the same way. Although we'll see. I mean, I also don't use my gouache as frequently as I might like. Yeah, I have 2 golf balls in my brush cleaning jar. It makes cleaning out paint much easier and still gentle to the bristles. Maybe. Are you thinking of making casein paint, Dan? These are, yeah, this is a really cheap brush that I'm using. I'd be interested to try it as it's not cheap to buy in tubes. It would be much more affordable for me to make. Yep. I think especially in the UK or Europe, I think that Richardson is a North American company. So also when I said $100, I was saying $100 Canadian, which is like 75 American. Gabor, I thought you would like this. It's sold as Payne's Gray, but it's reading much more blue to me, like much more like an indigo. I thought you might like that. Also don't like gouache at all. Yeah, well, I mean, if you don't like gouache, you probably, this is very much like gouache. So. I got these partially because I was hoping to do a little bit more like plein air type gouache work, but gouache lifts up the previous layers, so I was thinking I might do the James Gurney thing where I do at least an underpainting in casein. So around 60 pounds. Yeah. Casein won't lift. It's a closed surface, so it's kind of like acrylic in that way. It's the paint film is a little bit weaker than an acrylic, so if you really scrub at it, especially if the paint is like relatively recent, like you scrub at it within the next day or so, you can lift it up a little bit, just because you can sort of get under the casein film, but it won't lift like gouache. Like if you can just paint over top of it with gouache and it won't mix the layers. Am I so predictable about blue? Well, you have some preferences. It's like me and my Nicolazo there. You really like your indigo. Nothing wrong with that. So to be honest, I got this cerulean thinking I should get a second blue. I got two blues. Then I got a third one. It honestly doesn't seem like this is adding that much range, does it? Maybe a bit easier to mix a green with the cerulean as it should be less staining. I mean, because this is like an opaque layerable paint, I don't know that staining matters quite as much, although I'm mostly just making stuff up here. I don't really know anything about this. Just experimenting. Okay, so if I take this is Cadmium Green. Oh boy, That is quite the green. Whoo! Wow. Then I take some of the, oh boy, that's quite the mint there. Is acrylic and acrylic gouache. I tried it as an underpainting for traditional gouache. It worked quite well. Yeah, so acrylic gouache is, yeah, it's an acrylic gouache. And this would function sort of like that. Except it doesn't dry quite as stiff as an actual acrylic. Cadmium green. So what cadmium green is it's a cadmium pigment mixed with, yeah, so this is PG7 PY35, which is the cadmium yellow, and PY3. That is quite the punchy green. Okay, so then if I try a few more mixes, what if I want to do something that's not quite as punchy? I want to mix like these two. So I could do like almost a, oh yeah. Almost a Zorn palette. And then a bit more of the sky. Yeah, so it can start to dry and it's still workable. Like this has started to dry, but I can still re-wet it. But once it fully dries, then it'll be a closed surface. Oh, that is a different paint. I've only seen one. It's acrylic gouache, but more. Oh, Aquila. Right, sorry. I was thinking acrylic gouache like the Holbein one, but Aquila is a different thing. So you can't reuse any paint that dries on the palette. Not if you leave it for like a day. So once it's dry, then it's a closed surface and you basically just have to wash it off. But like this stuff that's partially dry, it takes some time to go to cure. So it's like dry versus cured, kind of like oil paint takes some time to cure, where it's still sort of workable. Yeah. Kind of like, yeah, acrylic or oil. Okay, so if I go back to this and I decide I want to do a red mixed with this, like I could do something approaching a Zorn palette. And get a little bit more of this. And then I want to do the last one would be these two, right? So then this for here. So I could do like a Zorn palette like this. I could. So according to Google, casein is made with borax too. Oh, that might be the other part of this smell. It does smell sort of like a mix of yogurt and clean laundry. So if I mix this with supposedly this is Naples yellow. It's quite a bright Naples yellow. Then I can make something. Look at this bright green. Whoo! So bright. Oh yeah. That sounds lovely. Is that a not sure if you're being sarcastic here. It is kind of lovely. I like it. I know that some people really don't like the smell of this stuff. Okay, I am really enjoying this green here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, Minnie's channel is a dangerous place. I always get away with thousands of ideas and a long shopping list. Life is too short for that amount of awesomeness. Yeah, I really enjoy her stuff. Her editing is wonderful. Okay, so if just trying to figure out how am I gonna, So I have a sort of decent view out this window, but I wish I could edit like that. That spot would drive me crazy. Which spot? What are we talking about? Oh, this spot? Okay, This is a really awkward view for me. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm gonna handle this. Just like the exact position. So there's a factory across the street that I can almost sort of see properly out this window. Maybe give the spot a frame so it's not alone. I'll paint over it in a moment. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. So if I gonna channel James Gurney a little bit here and do an underpainting that is mostly yellow. So we'll see how this goes. I'm painting the scene that I can see out my window right now, so it's not sure how the best way to show this to you is. I'll think on that for a moment. But first, I'm just gonna do a real quick underpainting in just a sort of creamy yellow. Maybe a little bit more of that. There we go. No more spots to drive y'all crazy. Okay, so then I'm just gonna let that dry for now. And then I'm gonna free up this camera, and I'm gonna carry y'all over to what need 3D models and theater lights for Gurney. Okay, so you see this view? So I'm going to be painting this area in the middle that's got the factory. Yeah, it's actually largely melted. There was quite a bit more a while ago, but it's warmed up a little. Okay, so then, sorry, there we go. There you go. Need a car parking in front of it and a rubbish bin for all right. Anyway, so I need to let this dry, and my paint water is filthy, so I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna wash that out. Oh. Okay, well that's cool. Thanks for doing that. Thanks, Alex. That is super helpful. Thank you. Hi, Sterling. Hi, Lindsay. So today I'm playing with Casein. So I bought myself some Casein paint last year and just got it out right now. So I swatched all the colors I have, and this is sort of an odd little selection because that's what was available at the store. And so I tested everything out. So these are the colors that I have. I tried them with water as well as with some white. And then I sort of played around with something like a Zorn palette here. And then I mixed the brightest green I could mix. And now I'm just waiting for this underpainting that I did here. So I did a yellow underpainting. And to dry out a little, and then I will not enough water. You will need 6 more vats. Send me 3. Anyway, so yeah, and then I will, once this is dry, sketch out the factory across the street. You can see my reference, sort of, although I'm going to be doing this in portrait mode, just from where I'm sitting, what part of the window is visible to me, but there's an approximate reference in the Discord that Alex helpfully screenshotted and put in there so people know what I'm painting. Bye, Hans. Thanks for stopping by. Anyway, this is still a little bit damp, so I still need to wait a little while longer. I'm gonna go get a snack. See you in a moment. things? Sterling, how's your, how are things in your neck of the woods? Our weather is warming up. Ford is paying dealerships to loan out F-250s that have onboard generators to help homes still without power. I am boiling water, but not freezing, so all is better. Okay. Paula says our weather is warming up with temperatures around 20 Celsius during the day. Oh my goodness, I'm a little jealous. I'm itching for spring. I started peppers, so I've got little pepper seedlings downstairs, but our last frost date is in late May, so you know those are getting planted out in June. Let's see, is this right? Ish? Okay. So I'm using a colored pencil to just block in the main shapes of my painting. We have highs of 15 Celsius next week, a heat wave. So I haven't checked the weather. I suspect it's actually above 0 right now because we've had tons and tons and tons of snow, but it does appear to be melting. So I'm assuming that it's tipped above 0 now, but it's, and we do occasionally get some like 15-degree. I want to push this down a little bit lower. So we're going to put that there. YouTuber watercolor painting Tim Wilmot has a great knack for getting just enough drawing, land, cityscapes, detail to make a nice painting. Yes, that's definitely a challenge. Now, one thing I've found is pretty helpful. Sorry. One thing I've found pretty helpful is just having you know, some things that I paint over and over. So like this view, this factory, because it's right outside my studio window, this is like the second or third time I've done basically this painting. So you know, it takes one of the challenges out to just have a comfortable thing that you can paint over and over. Is that a colored pencil? Yes, it is. This is just a polychromos colored pencil. I'm just using it because this is an opaque media, and I'm going to be layering over it. I'm just using a colored pencil just to get my basic stuff in. I'm just trying to get just enough detail here that I can start blocking in some of the other stuff. And here, got some other stuff in this building. Okay, so now I can start blocking in the sky. And I'm gonna dump a whole bunch of white down and use some of that Payne's Gray and cerulean. But put that all here. So James Gurney does this thing where he blocks in the sky and he leaves little patches of yellow and it gets all the tones all right. And this is one of those moments where I realize that I am not James Gurney. It is interesting to get used to. I feel like I could grow to really love it. I'm not quite there yet. Sort of become strictly a watercolor person and figured out how to use that and haven't really developed experience with other kinds of paint. So it's pretty similar to gouache. It behaves a little bit differently with water, but it's honestly very, very similar to gouache. Yeah, this is something that I struggle with gouache with as well, but getting the balance of water, like water, white, getting the balance of all these different things right is tricky. Okay. All right, next. I start out pretty dark here. So I'm trying to get the tones blocked in somewhat. I also realized that I maybe got my timing a little awkward because it's getting dark. You live pretty far north. That is the middle of winter, so it's gonna get dark. Like the light is changing pretty dramatically. So I don't know how far I'm gonna get with this before my reference changes completely, but so were you very excited by the Mars landing? Yeah, well, we sat down to watch it and got all excited about that. I have to say it was a little bit of a bit of a letdown, like watching wise, just because of course, I mean, with the delay and the fact that they can't really it's not like they can really stream the thing live. So what you get is a simulation. What's happening? So there was, don't know what I was expecting, but did feel like a bit of a letdown. Today's one of those days where I'm super productive. I'm on my third drawing painting. Feels so good to turn off after work. Wow, I'm impressed. Good job. Oh, so then here, like you can see where it's wet, I can just lift it off, but the color underneath stays on. Yes. So I have a house here that's almost the same size, same color as my underpainting, so I'm just going to leave that there. All right. Yeah, let's see if I can get some more of the darker colors down in there. Then we to say getting the color mixes right in opaque paint is very odd. I'm used to the, you know, building up my tones in watercolor, and this like blocking out shapes thing, like I'm sure that it's actually very beneficial to learn how to do this properly, but it's such a weird experience if you're used to just the watercolor. Thanks, Alex. Come on. Oh, thanks, guys. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed and confused, honestly. Okay, so next up, let's take some of this, get some like proper white, gray, white rather. Get that here. You need help with lighting, there's always my screenshot. I need to get a another device to look at that. We'll see how far I get with this. The light is changing, but so far I'm still mostly okay. The paint does indeed have a neat look to it. Yeah, it's kind of fun stuff. Confusing and overwhelming stuff, but fun. Oh, I'm just really not used to working with opacity. So trying to figure out tonal relationships in a medium where I'm not just building up from light to dark, but where different layers occlude each other is just, it's just overwhelming. And also just figuring out the thickness of the paint. It's just because I'm not used to painting in a medium like this. Okay, I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush and start blocking in some smaller details now, I think. And then this one. Well, I'm trying to channel James Gurney here, right? So I'm like, what would James Gurney do? You know, it's something. Won't get me all the way there, but you need a car and to paint some blue rubbish bins. Well, I don't really see any blue rubbish bins. It is garbagey, but I don't see any today. But there is a car here. Here, let me make out the rest of this shape. But this is a car that's partly buried in snow in here. And then, yeah, let's put in a pop of red. Just thought I'd pop in and see if you were still going, but I got a kitty poopy that needs to be removed. All right, good luck with the kitty poop. And yes, I am still going for the time being. I will be stopped sometime imminently by the sun setting and my reference being not really visible. Anyway, yeah, this one's a car, but then over here there's some more stuff directly over the car. Just shapes, shapes. And over here we're gonna have and then let's get some more of these windows in. So there's one of this. How's the weather that side of the world? Well, you can maybe see a little bit from my painting, or if not, you can go into my Discord channel. Alex has posted my reference for this, but I'm painting directly outside my window, and it snowed a lot the last few days. But it seems to be mostly melting. So I would say it's just above 0. We've got a couple feet of snow on the ground. Yeah, this is the view from my studio window. So earlier on in the stream, I took this camera off its little post here and carried it over to the window. Alex hopefully got a screenshot so that other people can see what I'm painting from. I must have missed the deets on the sketchbook, but chat won't let me scroll back to see. I don't know that I said anything about the sketchbook in particular. This is an Etcher hot press watercolor sketchbook. Just my regular sketchbook that I'm using right now. I've got some, I'm painting in Casein today. So Casein is a very new to me medium, so I have no idea what I'm doing. Advice is welcome, but if you look at this and you're like, what the hell is she doing? She has no idea what she's doing. Yeah. Oh, just the cover? Yeah, I pasted a, it's got, because the cover is this weird canvas that gets really stained really easily, I pasted on some fabric that I had. Usually I'm good at understanding how hemispheres and seasons work, but this month has left me discombobulated about it. Yeah, so it is winter in the northern hemisphere. And in Canada, it's still going to be winter for another few months. Well, not a few months, but our last frost date is in late May, usually about May 20th. So yeah. tutorial on using acrylic ink to paint the Etcher sketchbooks on my channel. That's really cool. I will go look for that. Hey. Yeah, can somebody drop my Discord link into the video description? or into the chat. Thanks, Paul. And then I got some other stuff here. Hans says, just jumping back in for a second to mention that painting is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much. You're enjoying the casein. I am. I think it'll be a little while longer and some more paintings before I feel truly comfortable with it, but I'm definitely enjoying it. scroll back. Other people just need to share more. Really gotta go sleep. Hope to see you soon on the server again. Yes, please. Yeah, that would be great, Hans. Please do share. Good night. I am concerned that I am losing light here. So it's becoming more and more challenging to keep painting because the contrasts are falling away as it gets darker. So only somebody took a photo while there was light. Yeah, but the angle's different. Let's go with some darker shadows here. I add some of the trees then. So there's some trees all around. So like there's one here that grows out here. Great, thank you. I feel like I've still got a long way to go to really understand how to use casein to its best effect, but it's definitely fun. Definitely having a lot of fun with it. Okay, so then thanks everyone. I'm always a little unsure sharing stuff like landscapes and things, where I think it's great to paint a variety of different things and get practice, but you know, buildings are a very different challenge. Thank you so much. How's my... So these windows, this is like one of those old industrial buildings that has like a bunch of different panels on the windows where it's like little... The big question is, how will you clean the plate? Underwater and scrubbing it. It does, so because the paint film is weak, it's not like, it doesn't dry super hard like acrylics. So if I run it underwater and scrub, it'll come up. Can you show the dried surface closer to the camera? Absolutely. That such a nice texture. Yeah, I really do like the texture. It's pretty neat stuff. So technically like acrylic in that it dries to be plastic. It's not plastic. It dries to be dried milk is what it dries to be. It dries to be, you know, if you leave like yogurt in a bowl and it turns into like a hard thing that you can't re-wet, or cheese, like baked on cheese, something closer to that. Can we call it cheese? You can call it whatever you like. Yeah. It's a cheese painting. If I leave yogurt, it turns into a fluffy green thing. Okay, what if you bake on cheese? It's a milk protein. It's not plastic. Like it dries to something that's difficult to re-wet, but it's not, it doesn't turn into plastic. What kind of cheese? Oh my goodness, guys. that shouldn't be there at all. That should be here. Okay. Hey. Because of the overproduction of milk, we have casein yarn too. Is it made the same way? I have no idea. I've never heard of casein yarn. But borax is used to make buffer solutions in biochemistry as a fire retardant, as an antifungal compound, so this paint is a fire suppressant. Cool. Landscape and brie. That's better than landscape and blue cheese. Yeep, guys. Well, I'm just gonna keep picking at this until it really becomes too dark for me to see what I'm doing. And then, yeah. Just give me a minute though. I'm gonna go plug in my phone to make sure that I don't get disconnected. Paint rewettable once it dries on the palette a little bit before it's completely dry. So it cures over the course of like a few days. So like this paint is pretty dry. You can see it's crumbly. And it's a bit, sorry, just really messy. But like this, you can see it's pretty crumbly, but I can still re-wet it. But if I were to leave this out overnight and come back tomorrow, then it really wouldn't be re-wettable in any meaningful way. As long as we don't eat the casein paint, we're probably good. Yeah, try not to eat the paint. This one has all sorts of things like cadmium and borax that you don't want to eat in it. Yeah, if you want to see someone who actually knows what they're doing using this stuff, James Gurney. I just go through phases where I wish I was James Gurney, and so then I, try to solve it with buying art supplies. And then I discovered that I am, in fact, still not James Gurney. Wait, sorry. Often squeezes on a wet paper towel kind of makes sense. Yeah, especially if you're going to be painting like outside when it's really warm out or something. Okay, so this one, this thing is a taller pole up here. And what else do I see? All kinds of little details. Keep running my hands over wet sections. Okay, so where does that run up to? It runs up to about there. That. so. I need to wash my hands because they're filthy. Be right back. I am losing some definition in the things I'm trying to paint here. My contrast starts dropping way down as night falls. And I think what this needs more of really is to pump up some of those contrasts. So I'll probably touch it up tomorrow, but I think this is about the end of this stream. So thanks so much for joining, everyone. This was really fun. Thanks a lot, guys. See you next week.